Back in Jerusalem, I have just 2 more visits to pay before I leave. I caught a bus to Abu Dis. In defiance of the UN, the Israelis are grabbing most of East Jerusalem for themselves by building the separation wall along the eastern flank and cutting off the small suburb of Abu Dis. This is another dismal encounter with the brutality of the wall. It cuts straight across the main roads, and it must have the worst checkpoint ever. People have to scramble up a steep slope of rubble just to reach the soldiers loafing around by a tiny porthole in the wall. Imagine this being done in our town. I'd read about Anata in a newspaper article. Cut off in an enclave and surrounded by Israeli settlements, the playground of the local school was getting sliced through by the construction of the wall. I really couldn't believe this, so I went to have a look.
Oh my God, that's one of the surreal experiences that you get here in Palestine. The bus driver put me down outside. I spot the school, I'm getting tuned into what Arab schools look like. The teacher takes me up onto the roof, shows me the wall outside. They want the world to know about what's being done. The wall could have been built on the other side of the valley, but no, it has to slice through their playground. 800 lads crammed into, half the playground area. It's right. Anyway.
As I was packing my bags to leave, reflecting on all the depressing experiences, I realised there was also a powerful message of hope. For instance, the Palestinians have a remarkable ability to organise themselves at all levels. I thought of the Women's Committee we met in Turkaren. We heard women have perhaps better democratic rights than in the UK. At present, a quarter of all election candidates must be women. And starting from nothing, the Women's Committee now runs some 60 women's groups around their area, including manufacturing and food, textiles, plus organising groups such as those protesting against the wall. I remembered the Israeli peace activists we'd met in the fields. Their group, Rabbis for Human Rights, organises minibuses full of activists every day to come up to the West Bank to help the farmers with their olive harvest. Brave, intelligent and determined people, standing up against the injustice being done by their own government and arguing their case with friends, families, work colleagues and neighbours. The International Women's Peace Service maintains a house in the town of Hawes and a rota of women from all over the world who pledged to spend 3 monthly stints at the house. They join Palestinians in acts of non-violent direct action, working on publicity and monitoring human rights abuses. And over our farewell dinner, I finally got to hear the real story of how our trip organisers, Zaytun, started. They started, just like us, on an olive harvest trip to Palestine and decided to set up an importing cooperative into the UK. They didn't have big financial backing. They simply put their student loans and credit cards together, and begging for advanced orders, they managed to buy their first small consignment. From this small beginning, last year, they handled over 60,000 bottles. I'm sure everyone in our party felt like they had been a witness to a crime and felt compelled to tell what we had seen. This is what our Palestinian hosts wanted us to do. As the plane taxied down the runway at Tel Aviv airport, the words of the Palestinians came drifting back to me.
We want you to give a true picture about our suffering in these lands.
I'd come to realise that Palestine is a case study which unlocks an understanding of the politics of all the rest of the world, together with the hypocrisy of our politicians and the bias of our daily media. I encourage everyone to visit Palestine, to see for yourself what is being done by our governments. And my conclusion is we can't rely on anyone else for solutions. Everyone, on this and everything else, has the power to make a difference.
We are the children of Palestine, and it's for freedom that we're fighting now. We are the children of Palestine, and it's for freedom that we're fighting now. A heavy load, and it will take some real strength. A heavy load, We do not care if we go to prison. It is for freedom that we gladly go. We do not care if we go to prison. It is for freedom that we gladly go.
Okay, I know you've been sitting watching this film for over an hour now, but this is important. If you've been moved by what you've seen in this film, you should get involved in your local campaign group, and it's worth pressurising your MP, just this once, because our government gives tacit support for Israel's aggression. Palestine Solidarity Campaign produce these postcards, or simply keep writing them letters, but don't let them off the hook. And just recently I've been sent these photographs by IWPS showing that the security fences around Marda have been completed, which now cuts the town off from the rest of the world. The only way in and out of the town is through a metal gate which can be controlled by the Israeli army. Already the town has been cut off for more than one day on a pretext. So I'm organising practical support for Marda. They've asked for computers to set up a learning and recreation centre in the town, and I've set up a group called Bristol Computers for Palestine to gather donated and recycled equipment, and in coordination with a local charity group aim to ship the computers to Marda. As well as the equipment, I need your money. Visit the website shown on the screen below or post donations, large or small, to the address shown. And don't forget to buy your Zaytun olive oil. Now you know why it's worth it. Okay, I'll let you get back to the end of the film now.
They take our homes, they take our lands. How much longer will they bleed us? They take our homes, they take our lands. How much longer will they bleed us? A heavy load, and it will take some real strength. A heavy load, and it will take some real strength. In Ramallah they shoot us down.